So far, we have discussed the CCE, and now we are going to talk about the types of assessment. And let me ask a simple question now. What are the types of assessment? Yes, you are right. Formative and summative. As part of translating the concept of CCE, we have conceived formative and summative assessment. The two types of assessments have their own characteristics. Let us talk about the first one. What is the first one? Formative assessment. Formative assessment is a process that takes place every day while transacting the lessons. It is a process that has two dimensions. One is, it is helpful for the learners to learn further. Two, it is a process which is learning itself. The teacher assesses the performance of the learners based on clearly defined indicators. He gives them feedback which helps them to reflect on own learning and go to the next stages of learning. It is in this sense that we say assessment for learning. When the learners assess themselves with the help of indicators they identified, they come to know what they have been able to do and what is expected from them as learning. This introspection motivates the learners to set goals and make efforts to achieve them. Therefore, assessment in this sense is conceived as learning. For the teacher, formative assessment works in a different way. She can reflect on the classroom process she has used and make modifications if any are needed for taking the learners to the next attainable levels of learning. Assessment therefore helps to equip the teachers as professionals. Now let us talk about the summative assessment. When do we conduct a summative assessment? A summative assessment is the terminal assessment of performance of the learners at the end of the instruction. Under the end-term summative assessment, the students will be tested internally or sometimes by external agencies. The summative assessment will be in the form of a pen-paper test. In order to ensure standardization and to ensure uniformity, appropriate sample papers will be provided by the department. Even in summative assessment, we cannot go for content-based tests, a practice which we have practiced for years. We have to assess the learner's ability to use language by producing contextually relevant discourses that have been targeted as learning outcomes for each class. Here also, the assessment is based on the same indicators that are used for formative assessment. The performance in summative assessment can be quantified and recorded using grades. The focus of summative assessment is on the written work, where the areas such as discuss features, grammar and vocabulary awareness, and conventions of writing will be taken care of it. But here, we need to observe a major shift from the earlier practice. The awareness about grammar and vocabulary are not tested in isolation, but embedded in the context of discourses. Here the child has to construct discourses appropriate to the given context, which can be assessed based on indicators. Therefore, even summative assessment is an occasion for the child to come out with her creative expressions. For the purpose of reporting, the oral performance of the learners are also to be recorded. This can be done by consolidating the assessment that takes place every day, which the teacher has already recorded in the diary. The domains of listening and speaking are assessed and recorded only through formative assessment.